In this video, we are going to see a development related to the economic history of India, which is very important for the rise of nationalism in India. They are asking question related to this, and this topic is drain of wealth. Drain of wealth. Right, so drain theory, very important, right. Why this drain theory is important? See, overall what you should remember that in 1860s, Dadabhai Naoroji put forward this idea. What kind of idea? What kind of idea he put forward? You can say he talked about that Britain was draining and bleeding India, and try to understand 1860s when he came out with this analysis, what he called drain theory, it exposed colonial administration. It exposed colonial administration, un-British rule, the concept of un-British rule. It exposed the moral foundation of the British rule, Because what they used to say? They used to say that this British rule is for Indians. But now, after this drain theory, not only Dadabhai Naoroji, many nationalists, they started talking about all the economic problems of India, poverty, unemployment, right, food crisis, famine-like condition, right, rural indebtedness, all problems of India because of this drain. And this drain theory created background for the rise of nationalism. And who is the main brain behind this theory called drain theory? Dadabhai Naoroji. But it was not only related to him, many names associated with this drain theory. There are different estimates related to this drain theory, and there are many analyses related to this drain theory, how economic implication of this drain, and not only economic implication, political implication of this drain. Is this fine? So this drain theory, which was presented in a very systematic manner by Dadabhai Naoroji in 1860s, in 1867, is a very important theory for Indian national movement, for Indian history, for modern India. And this drain is started after establishment of the British rule. The nature changed, right? See, you will see the process. The drain was going on after Palasi, of course a new nature, after Buxar, organized, after Treaty of Allahabad, more organized drain. Then after 1813, new nature acquired. After 1857, new nature acquired, home charges and all. So, nature different, but flow continued, drain continued. And because of this continuous drain of wealth, right, India, right, Indian colony faced problem, poverty, all those problems, right, India faced, and India remained backward. Fine. Now, for your examination point of view, we need some, I can say, information, some important, right, idea related to this economic drain or drain of wealth, right. So, we can mention first point, right, regarding this drain, that this drain theory, was the high water mark, high water mark of the nationalist leaders' comprehensive, interrelated and integrated economic analysis. High water mark of the nationalist leaders, comprehensive, interrelated and integrated economic analysis of the colonial situation, It is said that in 1867, Dada Bhai Naroji put forward the idea that Britain was draining and bleeding India. Britain was draining and bleeding India. Is it okay? So, this theory actually developed as a theory under Dadabhai Naoroji, no doubt about it. He pointed out, Dadabhai Naoroji pointed out that a large part of India's capital and wealth, right, was being transferred to Britain. A large part of India's capital and wealth was being transferred or drained to Britain. Is it fine? So, how this drain, right, is defined? This drain is defined. We can add that drain is defined as the constant flow of wealth, from India to England, the constant flow of wealth from India to England, for which India did not get an adequate economic, commercial or material return. Right. So, how Indian nationalists conceived drain? The constant flow of wealth from India to England, for which India did not get an adequate economic, political, you can say commercial or material return. Is it okay? So, it was a kind of what? Interpreted as an indirect tribute extracted by Imperial Britain, right. So, drain of wealth. And we can also add that the British the British remained perpetual foreigners, perpetual foreigners, perpetual foreigners, permanent foreigners, right, permanent foreigners. And this kind of drain was peculiar to British rule. This kind of drain was peculiar to British rule. Why? Even the worst of the previous Indian rulers had spent the revenue they collected here only, right? But they are different. They always remained as a foreigner, right? So this economic drain is a very important, right, you can say, development. And we can add the economic development, or the this drain is started after Palasi, and after 1813 it acquired new form. After 1813 it acquired new form. After 1813 it acquired new form. This drain acquired new form. And the focal point of this theory, focal point of this drain was that a portion of the national product of India, that a portion of the national product of India, a portion of the national product of India, right, was not available. Why not available? Drained, therefore not available. Was not available for consumption of our people, for consumption for her people. So a portion of the national product of India was not available for consumption for her people, right, or for capital formation. So there was no capital formation here, or for capital formation. Why? Because it was drained away to England, I hope you are getting it. So drain theory, what was this drain? And this drain of wealth theory, right, actually remained a problem in the entire period of your modern India after the establishment of British rule, but forms only differed. So the next important dimension of this drain theory is constituents of this drain, constituents of economic drain. Constituents of economic drain. Some important constituents of the economic drain, right? So what all constituents of the economic drain? Number one, first important constituent of this economic drain was home charges. This word you have to remember, home charges. First and the most important, it became very important gradually. Home charges. What was this home charges? What is the definition of home charges? Home charges referred to the expenditure incurred, home charges referred to the expenditure incurred in England. Home charges referred to the expenditure incurred in England by the Secretary of State on behalf of India, by the Secretary of State on behalf of India. Right? So before 1857 it was less. After 1857 it was, right, you can say there was exponential growth, right. So before 1857 it was less than 10%, but after that you will see more than 25% around. So home charges is a major constituent of economic drain, and it included, home charges included, right, dividend to the shareholder of the East India Company. Home charges included dividend to the shareholders of the East India Company, number one, dividend to the shareholders of the East India Company. Number two, interest on the public debt raised abroad, interest on public debt raised abroad, Then number three component of the home charges, civil and military charges, and number four constituent of the home charges, right, was store purchases in England, right. So large part of India's capital and wealth was being transferred or drained to Britain in the form of salaries, pension of the British civil and military officials working in India, interest on loans taken by the Indian government, profits of British capitals in India, and of course you can see all those expenses of the Indian government in Britain, right. Then you will see that the second constituent of this, right, drain was interest on foreign capital investment, second component, second constituent, interest on foreign capital investment. And third was all those huge payments India had to make for, banking, insurance and shipping services, right. So these are officially, right, these components, these constituents you have to remember, and the major was home charges. And after Palasi, different kind of indirect tribute you will see that we used to send, investment, they said it, so they used to collect. So these are some important constituents of, you will see, right, economic drain. So these are some constituents. So I said there are three main heading officially you have to remember. First is home charges, and there are many components of the home charges. Then you have, you can say, interest of foreign capital investment, and then you have, right, those investment in, you can say, the foreign banking, insurance, right, companies, shipping companies. So these three are the part of, right, the constituents officially, right. Now there are many estimates. So the next important dimension is estimates, many estimates of this drain. There are many estimates of drain, there are many estimates of this drain, like different analysts involved in this estimate, like some name if you can remember, they all worked for this estimate, different estimate, like George Wingate estimate, then William Digby's estimate, then American scholar Professor Holden Farber, F-U-R-B-E-R, Ferber, Professor Holden Ferber, associated with this estimate, right, very late 1940s he estimated. Then you will see that of course very popular estimate Dadabhai Naoroji, Dadabhai Naoroji. Then G.V. Joshi's estimate, G.V. Joshi, G.V. Joshi's estimate, right. They can ask you these names and they can ask you that which one of the following is not associated with the drain estimate or the drain theory, G.V. Joshi. Then D.E. Vacha, D.E. Vacha, D.E. Vacha, D.E. Vacha, and then very popular R.C. Dutt, R.C. Dutt, and then V.I. Pavlov. These are some important names associated with the estimates, different estimates about, right, different estimates about drain of wealth, different estimates, right. Like for example, right, Dadabhai Naoroji, right, Dadabhai Naoroji said, right, Dadabhai Naoroji's estimate is, right, available everywhere. What Dadabhai Naoroji said, that out of the revenue raised in India, nearly one fourth goes out of the country. Ranade said 1/3 goes out of the country. R.C. Dutt said 50% goes out of the country. Digby estimate that you can say from 500 to 1000 million pound, right, you can say goes out of the country. So there are different estimates regarding this drain of wealth, But right, technical interpretation, different constituent, different estimates you have, but overall what was the impact of this kind of drain of wealth? So there was economic impact, no doubt about it, and then there was some political impact also. This drain of wealth theory, economic impact and political impact. So we can add economic impact. Dadabhai Naoroji described the drain of wealth as evil of all evils. Evil of all evils. He described the drain of wealth as evils of all evils. And he said that this drain of wealth was the main reason of Indian poverty. So Indians are poor because of this drain of wealth. Indians are poor because of this drain of wealth. So poverty because of drain. So this kind of interpretation. Economic impact. All economic problem because of drain. Reactions because of drain. Poverty. And he maintained, Dadabhai Naoroji maintained that Britain was bleeding India white. Bleeding India white. Bleeding India white. So Dadabhai Naoroji emphasized this, that this drain was responsible for all the problem of India, and it is the basic cause of India's poverty, and it is the fundamental evil, and it denuded India of its productive capital, right. So we can also add that Dadabhai Naoroji also said, he also elaborated, Dadabhai Naoroji also elaborated that this drain retarded capital formation capital accumulation, formation, capital accumulation. This drain of wealth retarded capital accumulation in India and thereby retarding the industrialization in India, industrial progress in India, thereby retarding the industrialization in India. Fine, you are getting it. So, when they are asking what was the impact of this drain, so first part you can elaborate all those economic problems, mainly poverty, right, no capital formation and therefore no industrialization, right. So, these are some important economic implication of drain, but you must write in your answer about what you say, right, the political implication. You must talk about the political implication, must talk about political implication. And Dadabhai Naoroji also talked about moral drain. He also talked about moral drain, and he said, Dadabhai Naoroji said that this drain led to dwarfing, of the Indian race, right, dwarfing of the Indian race under this present system, right, and drain of wealth, right. Through that drain of wealth, he exposed the foundation, the moral foundation of the British Empire. He exposed the moral foundation of the British Empire, and he said that this theory highlighted the foreign and exploitative character, of the British rule, which gave rise to nationalism, right. So, always remember this drain theory, this drain of wealth theory became a convenient slogan, right, for, you can say, for, right, all those nationalists. They all started talking about the economic impact, this kind of exploitative character of the British rule, and it helped in the rise of Indian nationalism, right. So, when you prepare this drain of wealth theory, right, you have to remember that how it helped our nationalism. What is the economic implication of this theory and what is the political implication of this theory? And without this theory, economic critic, this kind of question they are asking, early nationalists, those moderates, they contributed in our nationalism. How? Through this economic critic. All those nationalists, later you will see, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, right, Ranade, right, all those early nationalists, right, they use this kind of analysis to expose British rule. So, it played very important role in rise of Indian nationalism.